To loosen up the tie, step inside the booth. Mr. Monday is alive. You're listening to the Urban Business Roundtable. I'm your host, Curtis R. Monday, with a spirited group this morning in studio. Man, they came prepared, man. They got all kind of cameras. I told them I would have worn my Easter suit had I known that we were going to have some guests for the official like this. Call me, 312-374-8130. That's 312-374-8130. The show is called the Urban Business Roundtable. It is a show dedicated to the creation and growth of the urban entrepreneur and small business owner. We have three primary goals here on UBR. Goal number one, we want to redefine the word urban and help the urban community leverage their purchasing power. And I think our guests this morning, all in the educational field, all in the area of empowering our youth and things of that nature, or investing in that human capital, can speak largely to that. Two, we want to be a resource for the creation, the sustaining, and the growth of small business and entrepreneurship. And three, to provide small businesses with the necessary resources and access to capital to give them the opportunity to grow their business. This is what we do on UBR. You can listen to the Urban Business Roundtable live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and also the condensed recap on Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. and Thursdays at 6:05 p.m. In the studio today, we have the founder and executive director of Dream On Education. I found out she can hoop. Miss Kelli Haywood. Good morning to you, Kelli.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. We also have the board chair of the Chicago State Foundation, Miss Angelique David. Good morning to you, Angelique.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. And then also we have the executive director of the Chicago State Foundation, Mr. Darrious Hilmon. Good morning to you, Mr. Hilmon.
Good morning, sir.
All
and
right.
I cannot hoop.
So I appreciate all the guests, and thanks again for tuning in and coming in with me. Before we get started, I got to get thanks for thanks to do. I want to say thank you to God. Thank you for allowing me to do what I do. I try to always give like little nuggets, little things that God drops in my spirit each week to help me with life and business in general. And this week, the message was, I want to thank him again for just seeing the best in me. Truth be told, we're the only ones who are with us or with ourselves 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And if I were judged purely on my actions and behavior, God used my behavior, my actions, my thought process purely as a basis to reward me. I might be coming up short. So I want to be thankful to say thank you this morning for not doing that. I want to thank you for your grace, which is that unmerited favor, giving me blessings that I didn't deserve. And I want to thank you for your mercy, for sparing me. Truly, truly spare me for some things that I really rightfully earned. So thank you for that. I want you guys to follow me on social media, Facebook. We got Curtis R. Monday, IGC Monday, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Big Cousin, when we started the YouTube channel, you never told me how hard it was to get people to click on the subscribe button. I feel like I got to give a car away to get people to subscribe to the car. God, nah. But look, we on the milestone. The next one is the 200 subscriber. So whoever that 200 subscriber is, I got $100 for you. So if you go, look at everybody grab their phone.
That's motivation. There you go.
You go to the Curtis Monday YouTube channel, number 200. I got some bread for you. Let's see you. Also, you can learn more about me. Go to my website, www.curtismonday.com. You want business and strategic coaching, just call me 708-505-7072 to get your financial portfolio in order. Call my insurance agency, the Curtis R. Monday Insurance Agency, 708-647-1005. We got you guys work with the foundation, so not-for-profit on a larger scale. You're not-for-profit on a different level. We have a program at my office called Quotes for Good. We try to identify and work with not-for-profits. We have $1,000 we try to donate to not-for-profits. The only rules is, again, that we try to give you quote sheets. The individuals who fill out the sheets can't already be a member of State Farm.
Right.
No obligation to buy. Just got to give me a free shot to quote. If we do it, I got $1,000 for you. And I'm trying to up that to like $1,500 or $2,000. There's no limit on how often you can come. I'm trying to give this money away. Now, I got people come to my office for cotillions. They come for ad booklets and things of that nature. And I might take $100. I got $1,000 for this program. So for not-for-profits, I know fundraising is a big deal. So call me. I got some money opportunity. I'm glad to be back. I was gone last week, so I want to say good morning to the team that makes up the Urban Business Roundtable. Big Cousin Troy Howard, the silent assassin, always seen, hardly ever heard, but has a huge impact. Good morning to you. Mighty Titus from the ones and twos. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Curtis. How are you doing?
All right, I appreciate you. And Sonia Levine. the producer.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, good to be back. So last week, I went to Vegas. I'm a huge fight fan. So I got a chance to go to Vegas and go to the fight. Boxing is one of the things that my dad and I used to do, watch as a kid. It was our thing. And I told him when I got older, we would go to the fights together. So going to the fights is a big thing. And so I kind of felt bad because it's Black History Month and the brother Deontay Wilder. I'm supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt bad. But I'm a businessman, right? And I watch boxing. And I knew Fury was going to give him that work. I knew this. So I was torn between my heritage and my people, right, and then the green in my money in my pocket. So it's nothing. You guys you like boxing?
I like boxing a lot, actually.
Ever gone to Vegas for a fight?
Yep, I have.
I haven't. Not for a fight. I've been to Vegas, but not for a fight.
Most fun place to go watch boxing.
Oh my God! Let me tell you. Put it on your bucket list. Put it on your bucket list. Even if you're not like a hardcore boxing fan, there's nothing like the energy you feel in Las Vegas. And fight night, and everyone's there. Like anybody you can think of, from Stallone, DiCaprio, luminaries in boxing like Mike Tyson. They're all there, and everyone's there, and the energy is like. And when the brother walked in with the big suit, I was right there. My seat was right when they're walking in. I said, my first thought was like, look at this suit. And I looked at it and I said, man, he gonna get that work put on him, man. And I don't bet, I don't gamble. However, though, if they bring Uno to Vegas, I'm all in. If they ever bring Uno, I can't do poker, I can't do blackjack. But if they bring Uno,
that's it.
I'm liquid. I'm selling properties.
It's on.
I'm liquidating.
Yep.
It's on.
Agreed.
You cannot beat it.
Uno.
This is gonna turn out bad for you. Yeah. But I'll bet on boxing. So I was wrong. I was really upset because I bet for Wilder to win, for Fury to win, and I bet by knockout. Because here's my logic. I don't gamble, but if I was going to play something, I might play something like slot machines. Let's say I put $100 in slot machines. Okay, fine. But if I take that same $100 and bet that Fury would knock Wilder out in the 9th round, that's like 25-1 odds. Well, hell, I could do that math. That's $2,500. So I bet that he was going to knock him out in the 9th or 10th round. He wound up knocking him out in the 7th round. What I did not do, I didn't bet that he would knock him out, period.
Yeah.
I said, how in the hell did I not? And as a business owner, I hate leaving money on the table. So, again, but going out to Vegas, and you guys can might be able to relate to this, for me is like it goes into my bucket list of a dream or a goal. I didn't grow up with the household or an environment where there were like people who had like second homes. I never knew what that was like. That wasn't my reality on the south side of Chicago. So going to Vegas is always a great exercise for me because it costs. And I'm always curious as to what people do and how they're able to afford the different things of that nature. And so having a second home in Vegas is always on my bucket list. And so as I start to think about different things I want to achieve, the backdrop of how life is with how precious and unsuspecting and the unpredictable nature of life, it makes me feel as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, one, you got to attack every day like it's your last. We don't know when it's gonna stop. You got to go to your work and approach it. From the Kobe Bryant tragedy to now this coronavirus crap. You know what I mean? You just don't really know exactly how life throws you a curveball. So I'm really focused this morning on continuity plans. In business, having that continuity plan. Like, what's your go-to plan if you became ill and you couldn't work? Like, I got to imagine, Kelli, in your business, like, you guys got to have some kind of contingency plan that if anything happened to you or leadership, like, how do you guys continue?
Absolutely. So we definitely have a 3 or 5 year plan just for our goals and objectives programmatically and also just operationally as an organization. But also a lot of that comes from having a strong board of directors.
Sure.
So their support, their willingness to really step in the areas that I'm not as strong in. Sure. And then also for me to fill the gaps in areas that they may need that support. So I think that's probably the biggest way that we put ourselves in a position in case if something were to happen to me or anyone else, we're always prepared to do that.
Sure. Yeah. And I got 2 individuals who have active roles on the board and do the thing. You guys can can speak to the importance of having that board. Like, how do you view your role in that capacity, or what's the importance of being involved in the oversight, in respect to being on the board?
Sure. So the board role of any organization is for oversight,
Right.
is to ensure that you're giving the executive director or the CEO, whoever you have that oversight for, the support that they need. Not only the organizational support, but in a non-for-profit, the monetary support.
Right.
So you're really giving that guidance. A board should not be into the day-to-day operations. And to have a strong relationship, Darrious and I do, is you're really helping with major strategy. You're not directing and telling how to do something. That's for them to decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's interesting, as the executive director, we support a 153-year-old organization, but the foundation was relaunched in the past year. So putting a board together that was convened in January of 2019, bringing on a strong chair. I came on board as the executive director June of last year. So the relationship between Chair David and I has been profound.
Sure.
We have a standing appointment every 2 weeks, but we talk a lot. One of the key roles that this board, through Angelique, through Chair David, provides me is that thought partnership and counsel as we are setting up really infrastructure from the bottom up, processes, giving processes, planning, a new investment strategy. So I can call her any time of day or night and get that leadership. I get paid to do this job. Chair David and others, Chair David runs, she's the executive managing director of Ziegler.
Yeah.
She's paying us in time and treasure to give us this expertise. And what this board does, and I've worked with a number of boards, they understand that one of their key investments is in the success of the executive director.
Sure.
So that is challenging me. And I said this to her, no, you have to know how to handle your executive director. I say it with love. Because, again, she just said it, there's that balance between governance and operation, and Chair David is very, to her credit, careful about never crossing those lines. But every once in a while, she's the person I can talk to.
Right.
As the executive director, I don't have a peer on staff. I have to talk to my bosses for that guidance, that counsel. You're moving too quick here, not quick enough there. What do you think about this? And to have someone that can give you that counsel and advice in a way that's helpful but not intrusive to operations.
So if I got you right, executive director, chair.
Yep.
Day-to-day operations is pretty much the scope of responsibility for executive directors.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little different. I think it's probably slightly different for the two of us, seeing that we are a smaller nonprofit.
Sure.
And smaller in number of years, but they're definitely there in terms of impact.
Sure.
So as the executive director of a nonprofit that's been around for 7 years, I wear many hats. So there's definitely the fundraising piece, the business development piece, and then also what's most important is having that direct interaction with the schools, the donors, potential donors, and so on. So I think that it might be slightly different in terms of what we do day to day, but overall the goal is to support the mission and to grow the impact in the communities that we serve.
The overall similarity that I see is that this board has a level of autonomy that is separate from this other level, which is important because you can make decisions objectively. I was talking about continuity plans from a business perspective. You can also do it from a personal perspective. It's called estate planning. I have a 15, what's up, Chance, a 14-month-old son, and doing estate planning for him. And when I set it up, I set up a board. I set up a board, member of 3, 2/3 vote. They need decisions about assets and things of that nature until he's able to do or make decisions, has to be approved by the board. And I chose people who not only had tactical, functional knowledge about different things like real estate and finances, but who was close enough where there's a level of empathy, but far enough where there could be a level of objectivity.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because I needed someone in those positions where a decision can be made, where you necessarily couldn't pull on the heartstrings per se, but they were going to make a decision that was going to be sound from that perspective.
It's the difference between my therapist and my best friend.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Yes.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Side note, as a business professional, one of the goals, a lot of the goals of my peers is to be elevated or to get an opportunity to serve on boards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? But no one ever really provides like a blueprint to how to get there?
Sure. So the first thing is networking.
Okay.
Is to get to know people, because people put people on boards. They do have different services out there that can find you board, but I would say the number one thing is find something you're passionate about.
Sure.
Because board service takes a lot of time and energy and effort. Like Darrious said, I don't get paid for this, but I'm really passionate about education in Chicago State. So find something you're passionate about, then meet people who are on those types of boards and verbalize what you want. I think we as people often don't just say what we're looking for.
Sure.
We have lunch, we have dinner, but it's important. Tell people, I want to be on a board.
Sure.
I want to be on a board. And then when opportunities come up, those who are in powers of position that can put you there know that that's what you're interested in, know that that's what you're thinking, and can raise your name for it. Okay. So that's how we've put together our Chicago State board, but I've served on quite a few boards, and that's how it happens. It really is who you know, who's thought of you. The other thing I would say is don't ever start anything if you're not going to put your 100% into it. Because you would rather not have an impression on someone than a bad impression, because you won't get a second opportunity. So make sure you have passion, and everything you do it to the best of your abilities.
Sure. Anything.
And jumping on that, the other, if we go all the way up to the university, we say at the foundation, we have one customer. That is Chicago State University. So we are aligned. Everything we do is in support of the university. Chair Andy Zopp, who is the board of trustees, President Scott, who is the fantastic visionary leader. And part of their commitment, which is part of ours, is equity. Yeah. We were just having this conversation as we're looking at bringing on new board members. If we do not open up our view and vision of what a board member looks like, because how do you get the experience if they don't let you on board?
Right.
Exactly.
And then, so if we're sitting in the room, and I have, and like you said it when you started, I am driven by faith at this point. I'm at the legacy phase of my career. Yeah. So I understand and understand the role and the responsibility and the privilege of being this black kid from the east side of Detroit who gets to sign scholarship checks for black and brown students who get to work with these folks. So we must be intentional about those conversations of the diversity, equity, inclusion when we're talking about board members. We can't be similar to the things that we rally against and said, well, if we were in seats of power, we'd open it up. We'd look at people differently.
That's true.
So we've had these conversations going, this person in 2 years is going to not be for us if we don't bring them now, if we don't bring them in and support them. This is the person we give an opportunity because another board wouldn't. They have all the other things, but they might be younger in their career or this. We are always looking through the lens of equity and inclusion from our investment, from board members, from how we do business, who we do business with. Because if that is important for our student scholars, everything must up and down. We must be thinking about that. If we don't create space on our board,
absolutely,
for folks like you and others, why do we expect others to do it for us?
And I'm so happy that you spoke to that, because honestly, we don't see that a lot. One of the a mentor and a good resource in my life has been Dr. Brazier over at Apostolic.
Yes.
And Dr. Brazier has a lot of different things he does out in community and Woodlawn, et cetera. And once before, he had this organization that consisted of a lot of different public stakeholders, and Andy was part of it, and I had a chance to really meet her. And what was interesting about Dr. Brazier's approach was that he was very intentional with having the individuals who were already in the thick of things and experience, but also opening up the topic and opening up the conversation and the access to the environment to an individual like myself at the time. And it left a lasting impression. So I think that's important for development.
One thing I would add to that is you don't not only just need a mentor, but you need a sponsor. I'm really big on sponsor. That's a difference.
Yes.
A sponsor is someone who will put your name up. They're just not mentoring you. They will open up their Rolodex and they will say really good things about you. They will bring you along. They will tell you, don't mess this up.
You got my name. My name is my name.
Right.
But they will sponsor you. Yeah. They will go in and say, this is what we're doing.
And they speak for you. The difference for me between a mentor and a sponsor, a mentor will give you advice and counsel. So much about how we are viewed happens when we're not in the room.
Absolutely.
Conversations about us. The sponsor is the one who pitches and advocates for you when you're not
you're not there.
Wow. I want to get that on the other side. I want to get your input. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we got some more Urban Business Roundtable. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. At 312-374-8130. That's 312-374-8130. I'm laughing because my phone's going off. I'm like, don't y'all know I'm on the air? But I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm in the middle of like 3 rehab projects. That's contractors calling me. We need to get into property, Mr. Monday. So it's all good. So I want to say thanks to my guests. One of my first guests, she's a native of Kansas City, Missouri. Completed her Master's of Sports Administration program at Northwestern University with a concentration field was marketing and public relations. In 2008, she earned her bachelor's degree from Spelman College, where she was a varsity basketball player and Dean's List honor student. She's also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Ruru to the Soros. She's the executive director of Dream On Education. In addition to her work with Dream On Education, she's consulted for the Obama Foundation, working specifically on the Community Leadership Corp. She's a member of 1871, Forbes Not-for-Profit Leadership Council, and New Life Community Partnership Network. I want to say good morning to founder and executive director of Dream On Education, Kelli Haywood. Good morning to you, Kelli.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. We also have Mr. It's Darrious.
It's Darrious.
Darrious.
But you're over 6 feet tall, so I didn't figure I'd correct you.
Darrious.
So I would have answered to Darrious.
Darrious Hilmon. Executive Director for Chicago State Foundation. He has more than 20 years of success in fund development and strategic management. He's most recently served as Chief of External Affairs at Chicago International Charter School, where he oversaw the design and implementation of fund development, communications, student enrollment, and community engagement, and advocacy initiatives for the 14-campus charter school network. Good morning to you, Darrious.
Good morning, sir.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Angelique David. She's the chair of the Chicago State Foundation. She's also the executive managing director, chief operating officer, and general counsel of Ziegler, overseeing all of the day-to-day functions of the business. In this role, she's responsible for all human capital, ethics, compliance, cybersecurity programs, legal and regulatory affairs, as well as all corporate governance, brand identity, accounting, and IT activities. Good morning to you, Ms. Angelique David.
Good morning.
Got a very smart group here today. So before we went to break, we just organically touched on the topic about the networking, and then we also talked about mentorship and sponsorship. Now, in total transparency, I absolutely hate networking. It's funny because I'm talking to people all day.
Yeah.
Sure.
I do radio shows too, and I do this one, and I got the C-Flips, which is the real estate show. So I'm talking, and that's probably why I hate networking, because I'm talking all the time. I don't really want to talk, and sometimes I struggle with it, but it's a necessity in respect to business. Now, you strike me as outgoing, Darrious.
I'm an introvert.
Get out of here.
I'm an introvert. She knows it. I'm an introvert. And like you, networking, I'm amazed by some of the things I've done because I really am an introvert.
Really?
Yeah, which is why it is absolutely important for me. And the older I get, the more I just stand for a minute. I have to love what I'm doing. And the fact that I like people. So if I take away all the pressure of and just have conversations with people, that helps me. But networking for me was drudgery for years where I would just hate it.
What about you, Kelli?
So I enjoy it when it feels organic.
That's the key word.
Yeah. So I don't want to have a conversation where it feels very opportunistic or transactional. But as an executive director and as a founding executive director, it's extremely important.
Sure.
That's how we've built our relationships. As you mentioned, I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, so when I moved to Chicago, I knew 2 people, and those 2 people moved within 2 months of me moving here. So a lot of our success has been built on networking and people being generous and introducing me and our other board members to other people. So I truly, truly value it.
I think that word organic was key. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't like it. It felt like speed dating or something.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I'm just trying to hurry up and give you my spiel, give you my card. And versus, and I like authenticity. I like organic, authentic conversations. But to your point, Angelique, networking is key because that helps set you up for the next elevation, which would be mentorship versus sponsorship. So people who miss that, just tell the difference.
And networking it can be what you said, where you feel like you're just trying to get, but still be organic. So I'm an extrovert to the highest extrovert, and I love meeting people. I've met people in the grocery store, on the train. My husband tells me, stop bringing people home. And the next thing you know, they're friends, and we're going traveling and all kinds of stuff. So I am an extrovert. But it's about finding a common connection quickly.
Okay.
So one of my best friends, we were walking through Walmart. I was pregnant. She was pregnant. She looked at me. I looked at her. We had a conversation about that pregnancy, and the next thing you know, we were exchanging numbers and hanging out for dinner.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't have to feel like it's fake.
Sure.
Yeah.
You just have to find a commonality, and you have a commonality with everyone. There's
Sure.
something you have in common. And it's really about letting that guard down a bit and just being your authentic self. I'm always about your authentic self in everything I do,
Yeah.
whether I'm at the board of the foundation, the board of my company. I also own a small business, so if I'm there, I'm authentic. So when you create those authentic relationships, that's how you get a sponsor, because someone trusts you, they believe in you, and they're willing to do whatever they can to help you. So, and you're networking all the time. I would tell you, every guest you have here, so as I was listening to everything you do, I'm thinking about all of my Rolodex and immediately thought, I need to make sure we keep in contact because I have some synergies.
Yeah.
I have some things that I can offer you. I've got some Rolodexes that I can open up to you.
Yeah.
And if you're really true to yourself, you don't mind doing that for anyone because you know it's always going to come back to you.
It's funny, in this role with the Urban Business Roundtable, you're absolutely right. One of the things I do with every guest when we get out, when we through, I give you my cell phone number. And I say, if there's anything I can do to support what you're doing, call me. And let's keep the dialogues open, because I believe that there exists some level of synergy, something that we can do together. And you're right, it has organically proven to be a great networking piece. I met a lot of great individuals. You get ready to say something.
You know what I found, to Chair David's point? Networking became easier for me when I did the work to push through my feelings of imposter syndrome. Okay. You know, where really my younger sister said to me when I took a job, she said, "You do know that you've earned the right to be at the table now," and that stuck with me. And I was here in Chicago, and I was a grown up, and I was ready to hear it. And from that moment, walking in those rooms with full agency as an adult, I was still faking it until I made it. We're trained to do that as first gen and all of that stuff. It was once I walked in the room fully who I am and going, you'll like me or you won't, but this is who I am. I've earned the right to sit at these tables. That's when it became easier for me, the introvert, to have those authentic, because people are drawn to authenticity. If they sense any type of disingenuousness and you're holding back, they're going to respond, and they may not be able to put their finger on what you're keeping from them. But I walk in, God help us, I walk in the room my full self, and you have a reaction to me one way or the other.
It's a level of freedom when you can be your true self. Yeah. Kelli, I want to transition to you. Tell us about your work and your organization with Dream On Education.
Yeah, Dream On Education, we're a nonprofit for high-achieving, low-income middle school students. And what we do is partner with different schools throughout the city. Most of the schools that we serve are located on the south and the west sides. We do have one school that we've added that's in the Humboldt Park area. And we offer 4 services: scholastic development, mentoring, career exposure, and cultural exposure. The reason why we focus specifically on high-achieving, low-income students is that there's the assumption that because they do well academically and a lot of times they're a little reserved, they don't cause a ton of problems in the classroom, there's the assumption that they don't need additional support. Statistically, that couldn't be further from the truth. By the time that demographic reaches the 9th grade, they either plateau or decline because in junior high they aren't challenged, acknowledged, or rewarded, which is why we provide the services that we offer. And so we have after-school programming. We have a curriculum that we teach them weekly, the entire academic year. And then a huge part of our programming, which is actually what the students probably would speak most to, is our career and cultural exposure experiences. So we take students to different trips throughout the city. We've done museum visits, company visits, dinner at sit-down restaurants to try different cuisines. And the idea really is to expose them to as many careers, as many cultures, and as many people as possible, so that they understand that this world is not just something that is around them. They can not only be involved and integrated in it, but they can lead and do anything that they want to do. And so that's what we do.
What's the involvement? And that's phenomenal. What's the involvement? It's grammar school, and then are you still touching the kids throughout their high school walk?
It's 6th through 8th grade. We've been very fortunate in that the relationships that we have with the students, again, are pretty organic, and we've been able to maintain those relationships. But as an organization, so we started off with one school with 11 students. This year alone, we'll serve about 250 students. So with that being said, as we have more students that matriculate into high school, we have to be more diligent in how we track them throughout high school, and that's something that we're implementing this year, as opposed to like I said, just kind of relying on those relationships, which we've been very fortunate to have.
See, I'm a sports fanatic and sports enthusiast also, and most organizations like baseball, they have farming systems, minor leagues, and they groom the different levels of the minor league system to get to the major leagues. And we were talking about this subject matter, and I heard about your organization. I knew you guys were coming. I was like, well, how do you connect the talented individuals from 6th to 8th grade, right, to get them on the radar of a Chicago State? So somehow or another, that human capital can continue to be nurtured and things of that nature.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're doing to help with that is this year we're launching our first, Chicago's first middle school only summit, which will provide students with access to the resources that are available to them in high school. So it's not that you go through this program grades 6 through 8 and then it's all right, nice seeing you. Instead, it's an opportunity for them to have access to programs and education systems that are available to them not only in high school but in college and beyond. And so I'm super excited about that.
How long has the organization been around?
This is our 7th year.
7th year. And 7th year, so you got to be to the point where you've had someone go and get through and now is in a position where they can give their own testimony about what's some of the feedback, what's some of the results that you after being in the 7th year of the organization. What are you seeing so far?
Absolutely. So, like I said, we started off with one 8th grader, 11 students, but one 8th grader. So we do have one student that is a junior in college. Super proud of her. So we're at 100% rate. College is wonderful.
Yeah, it's true.
But as far as retention, one of the things I'm super proud of is that we have a 92% retention rate. So when students are in our program, they're excited to be a part of it and they return. Also, when our students are in high school, they maintain about anywhere between 82% and 85%. And the high achieving status in the 9th grade. The reason why that's so important is that statistically, your performance in the 9th grade sets the tone for how you will do in terms of attendance. Exactly. Attendance, academic performance, and just overall involvement and success in throughout high school. And that's really what we're focusing on. And like I said, I'm very excited and proud about the fact that our students maintain that 82 per 85% rate of performance.
I'm excited about what your organization is doing. I'm pretty sure maybe there were organizations like what you do that existed when I was at that stage in my life. I just wasn't privy to knowing about them, et cetera. So a lot of the things you talked about, I had to learn on the fly. I had to learn how to etiquette, how to silverware on the table, like what
skills.
Yeah, right. The things that we never talked about, those things. So I'm excited about that. Tell me, if you got a platform now, you got people listening, what's an ask? What can people in my community, in the entrepreneurial community or the community at large do to help your organization?
Absolutely. So there are 3 things. I'll be very quick.
No, go ahead.
One is, as you know, with nonprofits, we always need financial support. So donate. dreamoneducation.org/donate. Your donations will not only support our students while they're in the program, but like I said, when these students go throughout Dream On and get into high school and college, you're helping to plant the seed for students who need this support. High achieving, low income students are the forgotten group, and so donate. Also, we're always looking for partners for our trips and experiences. So if you work at a company, if you have a connection with someone at a company organization that would be interested in hosting Dream On Education for our field trips, we're always looking for new partners and new sponsors in that way. And then finally, we're looking for sponsorship. And so sponsorship is not just a financial ask. Transportation is a huge part of our not only expenses but just our programming to be able to take anywhere between 150 to 250 students throughout the city of Chicago in a given year. So we need partners and sponsors in those ways. So not only to sponsor transportation, food on field trips, the paraphernalia that the students wear on the trips. All of those things cost. A lot of times with nonprofits, there's the assumption that everything is just kind of warm and fuzzy. Right. But the reality, as we all know, as business owners and entrepreneurs, is that it's still a business and there's still an overhead cost. So any support that you can provide to us from a financial standpoint, as well as an in-kind donation, we're always open to it. So dreamoneducation.org.
Contact information, the website, was there a phone number also?
Yeah, so phone number 816-729-6880. And then as far as email, you can email Kelli, that's Kelli, Haywood, HAYWOOD @dreamoneducation.org. And then we're also on social media. So everything is at Dream On Education. So that's Instagram, Facebook /Dream On Education, and then on Twitter at DreamOn.org.
Absolutely. Chicago State Foundation, Darrious, Hilmon, Angelique, David. Talk to us about the foundation. What's the connection with the university and how the two mesh?
Yeah. We are, the Chicago State Foundation is the chief fundraising partner for Chicago State University. So their vision for success for student scholars is ours. Here is what's important to know about Chicago State and why the work of the foundation is so important. We are, so says the National Department of Education, a predominantly black institution. That makes us the only four-year predominant PBI in the state, but in the Great Lakes region. So if we are going to address issues like this horrific drop of 26% in blacks going to college in Illinois in just the past few years. And remember, we were starting with anemic numbers to begin with. Yeah. So to have that sort of precipitous drop, as the predominantly black institution with President Scott's vision, which is part of why I'm there, she has created and just announced this week a student success initiative that is holistic, wraparound, looking at the four key areas of supports. So we're going to be having a conversation. College readiness, first-year success, persistence, and then wraparound cognitive and non-cognitive supports from the moment students walk on campus. Here's what we have to understand that our peer institutions, while we appreciate their support of black and brown students, first gen, and we're 60% first generation. So 80% black and brown, 60% first gen, 80% low income or financial aid support. If you think about the barriers for those student populations, you're talking about students walking on campus with trauma you can't imagine. Right. So you can't throw a little money at that or a scholarship and go, I don't understand why the numbers aren't holding up. So what President Scott understands and has learned in her 18 months, that means our food pantry. That means when I brought in 3 bags of clothes yesterday for our cougar closet, that's a part of our career development center. Because you talked about this, the soft skills, me understanding. I was a smart student. I was the 10% that University of Michigan took. Right. Chicago State, we're for the 90% of black and brown students who deserve and want an education. But that means there are special, consistent, holistic, intrusive. We, with support of a foundation that is anonymous, we are rebuilding our entire advising program. So it's intrusive. It's not, oh, we'll check on you once or twice. It is from predictive data. We know the points throughout a first-generation, non-traditional student's trajectory where they're going to need somebody to reach in. Even if they don't know they need it, we know that that's a point where they're going to leave. Because to your point, you don't know there's a cure for cancer in the basement, so then you walk away. Yeah. Right. So it is changing, and I start with the university, it's changing the way that we measure data, that we support students. So what the foundation is doing is helping with the RISE Academy that's a part of Student Success Initiative. The president wants, and we support it, within the next year or two, every freshman coming into our university, because it's 80% black and brown, we're going to cover your costs. Wow. Awesome. And we're going to, in addition to doing that for you, we are going to, from the moment you get there, you have to start with us that summer. We're going to get you exposed to the college campus, get you embedded tutoring support. So the tutor's in the classroom. You're not going to a tutor going, this is what happened. They're in the room going, oh, I know what happened. And here's how that, and here's how we support it. We're going to do intrusive advising. That means I'm calling you going, hey, I didn't hear from you Tuesday. You weren't in class 3 times.
Accountability, true accountability.
Absolutely. And from the beginning, when we say to those young people, we are investing in you. We don't do gifts. We are investing in you. You deserve this investment, but you have an accountability in this as well. We're going to be your accountability partner. But what we hear from people, we're doing a series of alumni spotlights and future alumni, because students, scholars, and alum tell our story. Yeah. They kept saying this feels like home. Yeah. And when I got on campus, I felt like everyone was rooting for me. Yeah. So what we're doing is taking what was anecdotal and making it intentional and formalized and consistent. And our job is to raise money to do that.
That approach, though, all you're doing is creating a more robust organization, because that has to translate into a stronger alumni base.
Absolutely.
I'm always amazed at the difference of. I went to Northern Illinois and Illinois State.
Okay.
I don't know much. We don't have really much, in my opinion, of an alumni base. In comparison to what I'm thinking about, like people went to Harvard, or even with HBCUs,
Yes.
there's a true
Absolutely.
connection.
Yes.
Like when I got on an NIU campus, no one touched me, no one
Yeah.
followed me throughout the
Nope.
journey. So when I graduated, thank you NIU, but I didn't
Like,
really
think it was a business
Yeah,
relationship.
it was cool.
Yes.
And I think that these other. So what you're saying to me really speaks to that. I have an affinity for Chicago State for two reasons. Geographically, I think that it serves as a beacon of light in the
Absolutely.
city, right on 95th Street, across street from the Popeyes.
It's an anchor.
Like, yeah, you
Yes,
know what I
from
mean?
the
It's right-
Popeye. But it's funny because
Yeah,
it's true.
It's true. It's right. It's right there. My mom, who I lost in 2018, graduated from Chicago State.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And as a kid, when I was in grammar school and high school, I spent a lot of my Saturdays at Chicago State. The buildings were labeled by alphabet.
Yes.
Building A, Building B, C, D. And my Saturdays were spent with my mom because she worked in the library.
Right.
So I spent my Saturdays with her,
Wow.
and I took some extracurricular classes there as a kid. So I've always had a true affinity and love for Chicago State, and encouraged by the direction that you guys are doing.
And what you just said is exactly one of the things that drives me to do the work that I do for the foundation, is that Chicago State changes generations. It changes the path of not just the student, but the student's children and the student's children's children.
Yeah.
There was a Harvard study that looked at, because college obviously helps raise your income brackets. And there was a Harvard study that showed that Chicago State came in number 2 from changing income brackets. So to change an
Wow.
income bracket,
Yes.
that's
Huge.
amazing. That's huge.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, so we're gonna get ready to wrap up.
Oh,
Give
wow.
me an ask. What can we do to help you guys with your
This Student Success Initiative, we are a state-funded institution, and we understand that pays for basic things, important things. But if we are going to transform and be sticky, we need financial support, for scholarship supports, to pay for the food pantry, to pay for the non-cognitive supports. So we would say dollars, but more than that, equal to that, internships. So entrepreneurs, come to our campus, connect with our Career Resource Center, and create those internship opportunities where we're giving you talent that has the social, emotional, and academic skills that you're looking for to support your work. And we would also say to any alum, we have great alum in this city. We want them proud again to say they are alum of Chicago State. Come home, step on campus, engage. There is so much work to be done, and this work is so important. So time, treasure. I want to be writing a check for a scholarship to a student every single day, tons of them, to make sure that we say to our students, we got you. So time and treasure. Food, donations of clothes. We are wrapping around our student scholars in every way. So that is tuition support, food insecurity, housing insecurity, internships that help them to create that social capital, that networking, all of it, all hands on deck, but time and treasure.
And where can individuals locate you if they want to become more involved with support?
Visit us online. It's the easiest thing to do at csu.edu. Click Foundation. And my information is there. But before you click Foundation, then click Donate. Click that first. And then you click Foundation and come on in. But here's the thing. The president and I talked about this. We're at Legacy. She's at Legacy. That's the connection. We are the anchor. We're the tent. He, she, or they who want to be under this tent, we want to make room for them. So we want everyone to call. You're not intrusive. We want you to be a part of this.
Sure. I want to thank you guys for all coming out this morning and sharing some time with me. As we said, I don't know if it was a break on the air. I'll make sure that you have my personal contact information, because I believe it's important that we, as a village, we work together. We have a vested interest in making sure that we do the work. And so, again, whatever platform I have, whatever resources I have at my disposal is now you did. Now, I'll tell you one thing. I'm a serial text messenger. Like, if you need to talk, if you need a quick response from me, text me.
Fair enough.
Right? Text me, and I hit you right back. And so I appreciate you guys. I want to say, again, thank you again to Kelli Haywood, founder and executive director of Dream On Education. Also, Darrious, Hilmon, executive director of Chicago State Foundation, and also Ms. Angelique Davis, Chicago State Foundation board chair. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Again, as I said, time flies when we're having fun. We got to get out of here. I'll take a quick break, and then I'll come back at 11 a.m. with He Flips with my co-host, E.J. Williams. We talk about real estate investing. got a long day ahead of me. But I tell you, as always, I don't do this for my first name. I do this for my last name. Chance Jordan, Daddy loves you. I love you, son. God bless you. I'll see you soon. Say what you want to about me, but I always know I did it my way. God bless you. Bye-bye.